Oh, good evening, Tete Rasta. How are you guys doing? Happy Sunday. I just wanted to come back to you today and talk about scams in Zimbabwe. It's a conspiracy theory, but there's some substance to it. So I'm so sorry for the delay. My phone was registering that there was low connectivity, that my internet connection was not very strong. So anyway, if you want to be very paranoid, we can start thinking deeper into this and maybe start surmising that somebody is trying to sabotage. But we're not paranoid. We are very sound and we're very grounded. So let's get on with the program. I can see you all coming in. You're probably wondering what's happening with the hair. I washed my hair today, so I don't have a hair dryer. I don't want to use a hair dryer, so I just wrap it up because it's a different style. Profile picture, you will see something different. So, what is a scam? So let's build the foundation so that we know exactly where we're going and why we are looking at it in this way. So let me just bring the music down a little bit. So a scam is a dishonest scheme. It's a fraud. For example, there are insurance scams, and the East Europeans have come in with these new scams where they do some crazy things, and before you know it, you've let go of funds. And I remember the East Africans in Zimbabwe used to come, and inidagamboridzwa scam, by the way. Let me share this one with you. People can always tell that this one, she's not really from this place. So what did they do? There was a group of them, about 3 of them, and I was walking, minding my own business. And so they came and they said, "Oh, your extensions were very nice," talking about my hair. And then they talked to me about something about increasing the money that I had. So I was rather interested, and they were walking me down Samora Mashal, and people were saying, "What's now?" Meaning that other people knew that these people operated in this way. So anyway, we walked to this place, and I was deadly curious. Not so much that I wanted their money, but you know what? If you want to make money the easy way, you will always get enticed in this. So anyway, they were talking, all 3 of them, all at once, and terribly confusing me. And I had this bag with extensions and so on. And so one of the persons said, I'll hold it for you whilst this one explains. Anyway, to cut a long story short, this other one who had my little bag with hair extension walked away and left me listening to these guys. And because there was so much traffic of communication, I was left short of my bag of hair extensions. So that's how scammers work, and that's how they do it. So I'm leading on this story that I've put on my timeline. It's been brought up in the in one of the Zimbabwe papers. So let me just share that with you. And what I'm going to do is stay authentic to the article so that you guys would really be able to appreciate what I'm talking about. If there are any questions or if there are any contributions, please feel free as usual to drop it in the line. So this is from www.zimbotoday.com, and it leads on no DNA, no birth certificate, Mudede says. Okay, so I'll just read to you. I'll read paragraph by paragraph so that we can really break it down. So I'm calling it a scam, and I'll explain why very, very shortly. It sounds like a scam. Yes, it's a conspiracy theory, but there are other scams that the government has done, which I'm going to come to in a minute. So this one is written by Teurai Ropa Ziroi, and he's the gender editor. So it reads, starting next year, all children born to Zimbabwean parents would be required to undergo DNA tests to confirm their paternity before they can be allowed to assume their father's surname. So the title is No DNA, No Birth Certificate. You guys, can you imagine this? So it goes on. Okay, so that's Mudede. It says Mudede revealing this to zimbotoday.com this week in an interview in which he pointed out that he was working on a raft of measures to cleanse the country of immorality. He said his office was in the process of importing 6 DNA testing machines from Germany, which machines would be used to confirm the paternity of children before birth certificates are issued. So they are importing these 6 pieces of equipment. That's where the scam lies. Now, we can still read on and just go to my page, open another tab, go to my page and read the story for yourself, because I don't want you thinking Tete makes things up. So who is going to own these 6 pieces of equipment? And who gave them the idea that anybody wants to have DNA testing? If a man akasangana nemurume wake and they have a baby, whose business is it for this guy, the Registrar General, to be jumping in and saying we need to have a paternity test? If they're so curious about what's happening, I think they should come on the night of the conception of the baby with their torch and watch, and then they issue the birth certificate. That's so intrusive. These people have no idea about human rights, freedom of choice, freedom of association, and above all, Tete Rasta is concerned, because what is basically implying is that the man is going to be having a seed planted in their mind that this baby that is being born, if they are twins, that they are not his children. That's so mischievous and so irresponsible. You know what? It's gotten me thinking, what are these ministers smoking? Or what are they drinking? What are they putting in these refreshments in the Houses of Parliament? I mean, who does that? What business is it of the state whether the baby that's being born is the paternity rights of this individual? I don't know. If they've got another agenda that they want to address, I think they should just say so. Fair game. Doubt says that's fair. No DNA birth certificate. I agree. Are you kidding me? Doubt you can have your DNA testing yourself in any. I don't think that is right, and I don't think that is fair. The point is this: if you want a DNA test today, Doubt, you can still have your DNA, but it's a choice. What they're trying to do is to compel every single person to have a DNA test before a child is issued a birth certificate. What if the father dies, for example? You know what I mean? Before that process is done. And there's this culture of ours where if one cannot have a child, the brother sneaks in, sanctioned by Tete. They sneak in and they consummate with my guru or whatever is going on, so that Zinza will perpetuate, so that the family name will perpetuate. I guess DNA will pick that the sample is similar to the father's, because the genetic pool will be the same, but it is the principle. Why should people be forced to have this test? So let me just read on. We made the proposal to the parent ministry at Home Affairs 4 years ago, but it only took the coming into office of Minister Ignatius Chombo for us to get the nod to go ahead with the plans. So that name is coming up, guys. Chombo. That's all I'll say right now. Chombo. Okay. So he gave the nod. So these guys feel now they can go in and they can start doing DNA testing. So they're going to buy some heavy equipment from Germany. And so if they can afford to buy this equipment, they've got money, haven't they? Because, even if you're having a piece of equipment to do any kind of testing, it's not small money. It's big money. So somebody's got to explain, and we want to know who's going to own this equipment. And is it the taxpayers being made to pay for equipment that is to do with their priorities, when they're not paying people their own wages, when they're not releasing people's money from their bank that they have saved themselves? I smell a rat. And Satete, I want to be sitting and trusting Aurora Vangwe, knowing that this child that's coming is my brother's child, without having to think about surmising that maybe it's somebody else's or anything like this. You can always tell whether a child is yours or not. So let me just go on. And so the Chombo is given the nod. Mudede said this came out of findings of a study he had conducted, which revealed that many families were having problems because there were children who did not belong to those families. So my question is, Titidze, and why now? And it goes on, most problems that families face, including juvenile delinquency, are a result of ancestral spirits of some of these children who find themselves being raised by people who are not their fathers. Sometimes the problem of Mabonga can be traced for several generations. This is what we are trying to stop. So this is his rationale. And so why now? Juvenile delinquency can be caused by mismanagement of government, poor service delivery, or lack of purpose. If young people are unemployed, their minds will get up to all manner of nonsense. So I don't know about the efficacy of this, and I would like to find out what was the research methodology that they used, and what was the sample size that they used, and can those findings be generalized to the general population? So I want to find out from Chombo what on earth he's talking about, so that we find out the basis. It's somewhere we studied research. You don't just say, oh, we did a study. What was the substance and the essence of that study? We want to find out. So Doubt says, I'm not kidding, but there are people who are kuchengeta mwana asi wavo only to know after or not even know about it. It's not fair for the man kuchengeta mwana asiri wake, and it's not fair for mwana akazozi, and it goes on. Oh my goodness, I've done that again. Let's see. It continues. It says simo. Okay, so it's not fair for the man kuchengeta mwana asiri wake, and it's not fair for the woman akazoziva kuti baba vakamuchengeta avasi vake. Look, Doubt, it's very simple. If anybody wants to do a paternity test today, all you need to do is to carry your people and go and do the tests. You don't need the government stepping in. You can have paternity tests anyhow, anytime, anywhere in the world. Even if the child is in the UK and the father is in Zimbabwe, you can send the specimens that they need and the paternity test can be done. Why should the government be stepping in and compelling people to do anything against their will? What about those people that are very happily married, that have got no infidelity issues? Why should they be subjected to all these harrowing investigations and so on? And who's going to be paying for this? And this is where the scam comes in, because somebody is going to be chopping the money, and that is where Tete is concerned. Me, I look and I learn and I investigate. This one, I'm not letting it go. Anzinandaba nuka. It shouldn't be compulsory. What if I want a woman who comes to me when already pregnant? It's just madness. High five to you. And you see, there are also some men who've got low sperm count. Yeah. And so what that means is that their ability to fertilize and to have a child is greatly diminished compared to those who are very virile and it's done. So they might go for an option of surrogacy. So if they do that and it's between him and his wife or his partner and they're happy with that arrangement, why should the government be stepping in and getting involved? Have you ever heard of this being compulsory in any other country? Come on, you guys, let's be for real. Anzizona Dauti Mudede Anima points which are genuine. Well, you and Mudede can have a tea party, I guess. I'm not paying for the drinks. And Doubt goes on to say, how will you feel if your Murora tells you later, Kuti, Tete, vana ava avasi veanjadzi yako? It's sad. You see, the thing about parenting is this. We are parenting all the time. Like for me, ndine vanhu vandinoita house share navo, akauya pano aine kamwana kadiki. And I told you about it in one of my videos, because I was asked to kuti ndivachengete. Vadiki kuma 21 or so. So inini I'm almost like kagogo kari kutochengeta mwana uyuyu. Nemwana wake ane a new partner vakuto expecta mumwe mwana, but at the end of the day uyuyu munyowani akutotora mwana uyu se wake, so he's happy to be the father. You know what I'm saying? So if it's consensual, why should other people be involved? And if any woman has any doubt, women never have doubts because we are the recipients. But yeah, they can have, for example, if they have multiple partners at a particular time, or so, for example, if they are raped and then pregnancy results, they can have a paternity test. But it really doesn't need to be compulsory. And that's my point. Doubt, I'm not averse to paternity tests. What I'm saying is this, that paternity tests should not be compulsory. And that is that. I think you and Mudede can continue to have your discussion, but the aspect of making it compulsory is the wrong thing. So what he is saying is that most problems that families face, including juvenile delinquency, are a result of ancestral spirits. I mean, think about it, ancestral spirits. I'm not saying Aziko, but could he have found something that is more contemporary or more convincing as a reason for doing this? Because whenever there are problems, Mumusha, people will now go vachino-famba, vachino-oneness. They either go to my traditional healers, or they will go to my church or kuma sowe. Because I don't doubt those people in garments. They know their stuff. And then once you find out there's something that's not right, you fix it. You know what I'm saying? There's so many avenues that can be explored before the scam comes in. The issue is about making it compulsory. The issue is about who owns that equipment. The issue about who's going to be paying for the expenses. We heard this the changes in the road in the road traffic laws. Remember, everybody had to have a new number plate, which was a certain designation. Who was the one who had the contract for delivering all those number plates? How much was a number plate? Who benefited? Who chopped the money? That's what I'm saying. And then they were talking about these triangles that need to be in the car to alert people when there's accidents. That never used to be there before. And some people had the contracts for selling those triangles to the exclusion of others. Then you had some people who, you have the law that says you need to have these little high vis reflectors on your car, and so somebody is making money out of that. I heard about somebody's name which was dropped. I'm not going to talk about that now because it will take us away from the focus. So doubt, this is your last point that I'm going to bring up. That's when you can express to the government, Kuti, my man knows. All right then. Okay, I think that's about that from Doubt. Doubt, we can agree to disagree. So let me just finish this one. So he says the ancestral spirits of some of these children who find themselves being raised by people who are not their fathers. So is this really such a national problem that they have to come in and make it compulsory and punish all the other millions of people who are happily having sex, multiplying and having their babies and knowing that this one is my child? You know what I mean? It's such an imposition. I'm not all for this. In fact, I want to start a campaign. I want to start a campaign to get rid of this. If people want to have DNA testing, they should create and make available facilities for people to volunteer into these things. It's just like if people are going to say, you know, you have to have your HIV status checked. That's personal. Who says you need to have the government poking into your stuff? And you see, the thing about taking people's DNA, it means that they will say we are doing this for DNA testing. However, they will have your biometrics. And when people have got people's biometrics, you are done for. You know what I mean? Biometrics includes things like fingerprints, saliva, blood samples, and so on. That is where I am concerned, especially with a very controlling government such as ours that has got no limits or boundaries, and whose motives and motivation for doing things is always questionable. So let's read the article. We're almost done and then we finish. So Mudede said this was not the case, urging that instead the move is meant to protect all rights, including the rights of the child to know his or her true lineage. I mean, listen to this. We've been independent since 1980. Why was this never an issue? Zimbabwe was existing even way before. I think this one is a direct attack on women, and it stinks. It stinks foul. Mr. Mdede, I don't like it. So the article goes on. So I would urge you to read it for yourself. It's on the timeline. I'm also going to put a link on that. I think Newsday have also carried it, but these people tend to just copy the story and reprint it. So Mudede is not just a stranger to controversy, but seems to thrive on it. So the reporter makes that observation. He has a solid track record of allegedly rigging elections for President Robert Mugabe. Now this is the juicy stuff. And when that election role was removed from his office, he moved on to write a book in which he advocates for banning of birth control and genetically modified foods, which he says they cause underdevelopment, disease, and birth defects, among a host of other things. Well, there you go, guys. These people want to get into the most intimate area of your life by coming in and doing some DNA testing whenever any Zimbabwean has got a child. I think it will have implications for Zimbabweans living abroad as well, because if you want your child to have a Zimbabwean birth certificate, you would have to go through these sort of things as well. I don't think that we need to just lie down and take all this nonsense and be treated like sheep that are herded. What is the next thing that they're going to make us do? So you guys, I've talked to you, I've shared with you. A scam is a dishonest scheme, which is a fraud. The fraud for me is who's going to own this equipment. The fraud is who's going to pay for it and who's going to chop the money. And why now? I smell a rat. So that's all I wanted to say. Just saying. Let me just check if there are any last points before I go. Right. No, that's it, really. I think even if I was offered to do a DNA test myself, I don't want to do a DNA test because my child looks like me, my child looks like his father, and that's all there is to it. And my child has got his birth certificates, and that's all that we need. all these other issues, they're really ridiculous. Even juvenile delinquencies comes about through social economic problems, which have got nothing at all to do with nothing at all to do with what Mlede is saying. And if they really want to be helpful, what they really need to do is fix the things that are wrong, create homes for these young people, create meaningful jobs, apprenticeships, and so on, rather than wasting money on this heavy equipment. Thank you so much. Tete Rasta, I'm signing out. Siyabonga. Salute. Tatenda.